Imagine the slow, hypnotic melody of a veena echoing through the grand coastal air. You're standing in the magnificent ancient Tamil Chola kingdom, specifically in the golden port city of Puhar. Now, in this city, greatness wasn't just measured by the gold in your pocket. Welcome to This Explainer, where we are going to dive straight into one of the most incredible intersections of art, engineering, and destiny in classical literature, drawn directly from the ancient epic Silappadacharam. So think about it. In an ancient empire of just immense, staggering wealth, what really was the ultimate measure of greatness? You might immediately jump to vast armies, right? Or overflowing treasuries, or sprawling territories. But in Pahar, true power was measured quite differently. It wasn't just in the wealth you held, but an absolute, rigorous mastery of culture and art. Art wasn't a hobby. It was the ultimate expression of statehood. To really get this, picture the city during the Indravija. Every year, Puhar completely transformed for this majestic 28-day celestial festival honoring Indra, the rain god. The city streets were absolutely buzzing with energy. You'd have foreign sailors, traders dealing in fine silk and coral, hawkers selling fragrant scents everywhere. It was this massive, thriving hub of international commerce and deep spiritual celebration all rolled into one. But, beneath all that festive noise and partying lay a deeply structured, rigorous world. The Chola court wasn't just throwing a massive festival for fun. They were preparing for a rare artistic revelation. This was the era of artistic statehood. Showcasing profound artistic excellence was literally how a kingdom demonstrated its superiority and its refined civilization to visiting ambassadors and, well, the rest of the world. And the spotlight of this entire epic turned to one single person, a young girl named Madhavi. Born of a mythical lineage, traced all the way back to the celestial nymph Urvashi, her journey was honestly far from easy. At just 5 years old, think about what you were doing at 5. She began a grueling 7-year period of rigorous training. Under expert gurus, she mastered both Desi, which is the indigenous tradition, and Marga, the classical one. She learned dance, music, and the 64 classical arts, all leading up to her grand debut before the king at age 12, her Aranguram. Now, to host a master of that caliber, you need a masterfully engineered space. Her performance stage, known as the Natya Mandapa, wasn't just a few wooden planks slapped together. According to ancient texts like the Natya Shastra and the Shilpa Shastra, the construction of this stage followed highly advanced, beautifully standardized engineering principles. It all comes down to the sacred kol measurement. A kol was this standard unit derived from a specific bamboo stick taken from a holy hill, and the stage was exactingly measured. We're talking 8 rods, or about 32 feet in length, and 7 rods in breadth. The platform sat exactly 1 rod high from the ground, with a perfect 4-rod gap to the painted ceiling above. They even engineered 2 distinct doors, one specifically for entering and one for exiting. The architectural precision here is just mind-blowing. And the stagecraft definitely didn't stop at the wooden foundation. The ancient Tamils utilized a brilliantly advanced curtain system known as Ilini. They manipulated complex rope systems to control 3 distinct dynamic screens. You had the Orumunga pulled smoothly to one side, the Pormunga, which were 2 screens joining perfectly in the center, and the Karanto Varal, a hidden drop cleverly descending right out of the ceiling. It's high-tech theater centuries ago. But honestly, here is perhaps the most astonishing detail of the whole setup: their optical engineering. Lamps were positioned at such exact, carefully calculated angles around the stage that neither the structural pillars nor the dancers cast a single shadow on the performance floor. I mean, imagine that. A completely shadowless stage illuminated only by oil lamps, ensuring the audience's focus was entirely 100% unbroken. So, this perfectly engineered stage was set for a perfectly engineered performance. On this night, 12-year-old Madhavi flawlessly executed 11 incredibly difficult dances. Let that sink in for a second. 11 distinct dances. She changed costumes, shifted emotional expressions, and transitioned between these wildly complex musical rhythms with absolute perfection. She completely captivated the king and the entire Chola court. For such an otherworldly performance, the reward had to be equally profound. She was awarded the Thulakal,
The thulakal was not merely a staff. It was the highest sovereign recognition of artistic perfection. It was actually crafted from the central shaft of a defeated rival monarch's white umbrella, wrapped entirely in the purest Jamunata gold and studded with 9 gems. It represented Indra's son. So handing it to Madhavi essentially declared her art was divine.
Alongside the Thalai the king awarded her a staggering sum, 1,008 kalanjus of pure gold. To put that into perspective for us today, modern historians and scholars estimate this amount is equivalent to nearly 4 crore rupees. That's roughly $500,000 US. This astronomical economic value proves that back in the Sangam age, supreme artistic talent was valued right on par with the wealth of the state treasury itself.
But this grand debut, this life-changing wealth, and this divine recognition set off a profound ripple effect. By performing at the absolute pinnacle of the Indravisha, Madhavi's debut attracted the gaze of the city's wealthiest, most powerful young nobles. The sheer gravity of her talent shifted the atmosphere, and it changed the destiny of everyone watching that night.
And here is where we find the fatal catalyst of our entire story. Among that elite crowd was Kovalen, a very wealthy merchant. Struck completely by her unmatched performance, Kovalen steps up and purchases the green leaf garland she offered. And the price? Exactly the royal reward of 1,008 gold coins. In doing so, he wins her companionship, utterly abandoning his devoted wife Kanagi. This single transaction, right on the heels of her artistic triumph, triggers the tragic core of the entire Silappatikaradam epic. Because of the sheer disaster that follows, I'm talking the burning of Madura and Kanagi's eventual deification, history often unfairly reduces Madhavi to a mere plot device, a homewrecker, a tragic side character, right? But when we actually look at the source text, we see a stark contrast. Madhavi was not just a concubine. She was a deeply disciplined master, a profoundly spiritual intellectual, and an artist of absolutely unparalleled dedication. Today, modern scholars and choreographers are finally reclaiming her agency. In Canto 7, the Kanalvari, Madhavi powerfully declares, "I forget not even those who forget me." Through lines exactly like this, researchers like Dr. Swarnmalya Ganesh are re-evaluating Madhavi's feminist strength. They're highlighting her evolution from what some see as a marginalized figure into a woman of immense psychological depth and emotional intelligence. And honestly, her true legacy is perhaps the most fascinating part of this whole shebang. After the tragic death of Kovalen, Madhavi didn't just return to the opulent life of the court. She broke the shackles of societal expectation completely. She renounced all of her material wealth, yes, including those 1,008 gold coins. She donated her vast riches to Buddhist viharas and the poor, chose spiritual asceticism, and guided her own daughter, Mani Mikalai, straight into monkhood, specifically protecting her from the systemic pressures of courtly dance. So I want to leave you with this final provocative thought. When we look back at the grand stage of history, do we remember female artists for how they truly lived, for their incredible intellect and their breathtaking discipline? Or do we only remember them for the men whose stories they altered? Madhavi was a master, an ascetic, and a legend in her own right. Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer, and I really hope this changes how you view the incredible masters of our past.